Hello my friends, John LaRuffa here with another straight up solo, and in this episode we're going to take a look at Planet Unknown. Specifically the version I'm using is the hobby version or the retail one, so just for those who are interested. I want to show it to you from a solo only perspective and help you to decide if this is a solo game that you're interested in or something that you'd rather pass on at this point. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look and follow me to the table. Alright folks, and as usual, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. And if you have, I really appreciate it. It's been helping me out and really makes me happy. So I'm showing you the symmetrical side of this game. If you flip over these boards, they all have asymmetrical sides, and the corporations have asymmetrical sides, which change up the rules on the board, the landscape, and also the kind of rewards, which I think is a really good thing that they did that to breathe life into the game and allow you to try different things. When you set the game up from a solo standpoint, you're going to load the event deck, and the event deck is going to determine what kind of score you're trying to get at. And the event deck itself has three types of events. They've got orange events, green events, and red events. And the red make it harder, the green are the easiest, and orange are in the middle. I prefer just to shuffle them in randomly and figure out what kind of score I'm going to need at the end. But that's kind of how you determine how you win or not. And then you look at your score and you compare to this, if you exceeded it by how much or if you were below it how much, and it gives you some rankings on what your what your planetary what have you looks like. So what is going on in this game? This game is a medium light game for sure. I would say it's a little more than light, but not squarely in the medium category. What you're going to do every turn is you're going to spin this wheel one rotation this is for the solo, and you're going to choose one of these two tiles to put down. The tiles on their back are the exact same as on their front. There is no difference. The tiles, there are many types of tiles in here with different landscape terrains on them and such. And the only rules that you have to obey are fairly simple in what you'd expect. You have to start from one of the sides, one of the perimeters to begin with. Then everything else has to be orthogonally adjacent, not diagonal, to the tiles you place down, unless you get some special abilities here which help with that. Some of the tiles have some special things about them. So for instance, the water, you don't score anything for the water resources unless one of your water terrain spots is at least covering up one of these printed sheets of ice or water on the actual planet. The other thing is that you score a resource on your resource tracker for each icon or special looking building thing or whatever you want to call it on the tile, not for each tile itself. Kind of wasted my first game missing that little rule, and it is clearly explained, so I'm not going to blame the designers. You don't get, if I place this tile, I would get one on the tech track and one on the rover track, not 2 and 3. The goal of the game is you're trying to expand on this planet, cover it up with things, move your tracks up. The higher they go, the more of these little golden medals that you'll cross, which are basically worth victory points. You're trying to use your rover to extract these life pods by basically moving your rovers over them. Those could be worth up to 6 points at the end. And you're trying to clear off any meteors that may fall. Meteors fall when you place a tile that has a meteor on it. Then you put one of these orange meteors on there and you want to collect those with your rovers as well to try to clean those up. You're also going to score 1, 2, or 3 points for every column or row that is completely filled. And as you can imagine, the 1-pointers are near the edges and the 3-pointers go longer all the way across. The other thing you have is you have some of these goals, of which we have to choose one to discard. I'm going to discard this one, but you can see there's a variety of things. This one says create a 2x5 terrain area with this kind of terrain. This one says create a terrain area consisting of 6 energy resources, meaning 6 of these. There we go, 6 of these. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'll pull it out. 6 of these that are all in one contiguous group, or other things like this. Collect 9 or more meteorites in the game. So I'm going to discard this one. That leaves us with 3, and each of these are worth 5 points if you complete them. The other thing that you could do is as you cross over different levels, level 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5 in the track, you can get these technologies that are printed on your board, which are different for each corporation. And as you cross over different population levels, you can choose one of the 2 different civilization cards to get, and they're usually points or they're an immediate bonus. All right, so let's go ahead and start taking some turns so you can see what's going on. So I rotate this to start, and then I have to go ahead and start placing things on the board. I could take this tile or this tile. Now, one of the things I have here is it says create a 2x5 area for the rover terrain. So that would help with that goal. I have a 3x3 for the biomass, and I have create energy in 6 spots. Well, this one looks pretty good to start with. So we're going to grab it. We're going to put it out here. Now, because my water is covering some water space, I immediately will be able to score the water. So I score the water. Wait. Time out. Before I do any of that, after I rotate this, I've got to look at my event. This event says destroy a rover if you have more than 1 on your planet. Well, I don't, so I got lucky there. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this down. And I'm going to get 1 water, and I'm going to get 1 rover. I activate the rover, it shows up. But before I activate the rover, this comes with a meteorite. So I actually can put the rover right down on the meteorite spot and immediately score it instead of having to move it around. Now, as the rover track goes up, I will be able to move that certain amount of spaces when I land on them. All right, so that was it. That was the turn. Very, very simple. Move this, draw this. This one says, add 1 meteorite to an empty symbol on your tiles. Well, I just covered it up, so I don't think it's really empty. I'm not going to look for clarification. I'm going to say that that can't happen because it's covered with a rover right now. Maybe I'm wrong, don't know. Now I move, or I choose one of these 2 tiles. And again, I'm trying to come up with complete rows and complete columns here. If I build over these colonies, I lose them. So I don't want to build over them. But it would be good if I could, all possible, find a way to at least put out a tile that's bigger than usual. And this one's probably a good move right here. That does bring me another meteorite right by my rover, so I can get that. I get 1 on my biomass and 1 on my tech tile. Okay? You can see how easy this is. The game ends when you finish going through your draw deck, or if you can't physically, legally place one of these tiles on the board, which I'm not sure you're going to get there. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a draw deck situation, but maybe, who knows? You could do a really patchy job, I guess, with this and have that end there. But those are the 2 ways I think that the solo game is going to mostly end. Also, in the multiplayer, you could end if you exhaust 2 of these someplace on the board completely. That's not going to happen in the solo game because you're really only going to be getting down 2 or I think just let's see. So there's basically, 3 of these turns around here because there's 20 of these cards. So you have 20 turns to get your best score. So chances are you're only going to get at most 3 down in one spot, maybe 4. But you have the choice of inner and outer. So you're not going to see that, that condition coming. So again, that's what it looks like. Simply place your stuff, simply score. The intricacies or the additional things is as you move and focus on tracks. That helps turn your strategy and do different things. You are focusing on these goals. If you want to get some of these, you can. So there are different ways to score and different paths and strategies you can take depending on what you want to do. But that's it. That's Planet Unknown from a solo standpoint in a nutshell. So let me go ahead and take you back up and let you know what I think about it. Okay, so you've seen the gameplay pretty much in its entirety. It's definitely a lighter, medium-light game. I'd say it would be a completely light game if there weren't any of the tracks there. But the tracks do offer you some decisions on which things you want to focus on to go higher to score more points, to get more abilities, etc. The choices you have to make on the board themselves don't feel particularly constrained. It's a big planet. Now, I'm playing on the basic one. So as you flip over the planet and you have different things, that's where some of the interesting and more complex, I would say, restrictions will get to you. And I think that's good because I think a game like this, you need some of that to keep it fresh and to keep you thinking about different ways to play it. So you'll play a couple times on the baseboard and then I'm sure you'll want to move on to something else. And I would say that's the one drawback about having the hobby version. It would have been nice to have the additional 6 planets and 6 corporations for the asymmetry in the game itself. I hope that they put that out there someplace for other people to get them, because then there's a lot of options to play. Even still, you can mix and match your boards and change things up. So there's a lot of content in here to explore, so to speak. But it's definitely going to be a lighter experience. So if you're looking for a very heavy polynomial game, this is not going to be it. If you're looking for a light medium polynomial game that you like to put things down and move up on tracks and such, this one does a good job of it. It's fun. The goals are good. The different abilities you can unlock are good. Moving around your rover to collect things is a fun, neat little mechanic. And then the Lazy Susan, it's I'd say it's a novelty. Okay, now in the main game, it's a whole different story, right? Because multiplayer, people can move that as far as you want. So what you're going to get is going to vary dramatically every time. In the solo game, you wouldn't even need a Lazy Susan. You could lay it all out in one big line. I mean, you don't have to. It's good to have that there, but it's much more, I would say, akin to what you would normally do in let's say an older style polynomial game, for instance, like New York Zoo, for instance, is one. You're just putting them out there. You kind of see now that game. You of course you can move further or less to get other things. But I almost wonder if you'd almost be better off like spinning the wheel, so to speak, and whatever you get, and then you have to take from there. I might try that just to flavor it up a little bit so it's not so rote. If you were to spin the wheel like that, I think maybe doing that every couple of turns, that would definitely, I would think, feel exactly like the multiplayer, because in the multiplayer, you only get to choose what you want that first time. And so let's pretend you would, out of the 20 turns, you would take the first, the fifth, the first, the sixth, the 10th, the 14th, or whatever, space it out equally, right? So, you're doing 1 turn of spinning the wheel, or choosing, and then 4 turns of spinning the wheel. And that way you would have a very similar experience to exactly what the multiplayer is like. Besides that, there is no other real interactions. You've got, in the multiplayer, you have those goals that you're looking to your neighbors to see what they did. Here, that's just replaced by a specific condition. Totally good, I think, from that standpoint. You don't lose anything. This is very much a multiplayer solitaire game. So I think it's very well based, set up, for a solo experience. So I like it, I enjoy it. I like the colors, I like the atmosphere and the art, and I like the choices. It is not a brain burner. That's okay. Not everyone has to be. But if you're looking for something heavier, this is probably not going to provide it. If you're looking for something in that light medium category, this might be for you. If you hate polynomial games, this is not for you. And if you don't like upgrading things and looking how they move on the track and specializing and stuff, then there's not much for you here. But if you do enjoy those things, you'll get a kick out of this. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. And whatever you play in the future, I hope you have a fantastic time doing it. Take it easy.